early exits. That's what I'm talking about.
Stay out from Columbus. What is you talking about? Ohio, bitch!
Well, Sweet 16 is here, and neither Buckeye team made it. Can't say I'm not surprised, but before we get into it, please hit that like and subscribe button. Please, please, please like. Please, please, please subscribe. Help a brother grow this thing out. Grow it out. Yeah, I said it. I said it. It was good to see both teams in there finally, but don't be surprised if neither one gets to the Sweet 16. The men, kind of expected it. I said I didn't know what TCU brought to the table, but I thought Ohio State had enough. They played well enough down the stretch where I thought they at least could have got to the second round. They at least could have got there, right? But no, it wasn't to be. They played like a team who pretty much was happy to get in there. Pretty much happy to get in there, and they couldn't get over the top again. Something that's plagued the team. They couldn't close out a game. Rather trying to hold on to a lead or trying to come back from a deficit. They just need to learn how to close out games. Somewhat expected for the men not to be in there too long. We're going to talk a little bit more about them individually, but real brief in general. Kevin McGuff and the women's team, same thing. Not surprised. They at least won their first round game. Kevin McGuff, he has a problem getting out of the second round and making it to the Sweet 16. It's been this problem for the last, 3 years now. Ever since he made that run to the Elite Eight, he hasn't been able to get past the second round since then. Disappointed, not surprised, but disappointed, not surprised that Kevin McGuff coach team failed to get past the second round. But let's jump back in. Let's jump back into Diebler here. Some would say he saved his job. I know some folks want him fired, but I think he saved his job. Following that Iowa loss, if he hadn't gotten into the tournament, if he hadn't turned it around and had that run down the stretch there and missed the tournament again, I think Diebler very well could have been on his way out, because according to the president, he wants not only to get the tournament deep runs, but so I think Diebler did something that Hope wasn't able to do, is to get Ohio State into the tournament. I think that may have saved his job this year. Who knows what's going on in the president's mind? But I think that went a long way into saving Diebler's job, despite what may or may not have happened in the tournament. Now we know they got that first round loss. So I think Diebler bought himself another year. Another year to see what he can do with this team. If he can't make it next year, provided they all stay, because he has a good nucleus coming back, minus Thornton, of course. That's going to be a big piece he needs to address. But if all of them stay, you have a potential nucleus of Royal, Bynum, Mobley, Chapman, and then you got the 5-star coming in Thompson. So that's a good nucleus to start with, provided they all stay. Where Deves need to get better is in the portal and bringing in talent that can help in the portal, which we've been lacking. A lot of our portal additions over the last several years, they just been mid-level folks. There are mid-majors that there's a reason why they're in the mid-majors to begin with. We got out of them what we could. I mean, Tilly, I thought he was a good addition offensively. Defensively, he left stuff to be desired given his size. But Deeb, you got to get better in the portal. I don't know if it's NIL related, why we can't get some better folks to come here, but he definitely needs to get better in the portal, and hopefully we can hold on to some of our folks, some of that nucleus that is here, most notably Bynum. We gotta keep Bynum. We gotta keep Mobley. If any two stay, those are the two that most definitely need to stay. And from early posts from Mobley, he indicates he's coming back. In this day and age, who knows? I did see in some reports, I didn't get the name, but there is a potential starter who's thinking about leaving. Who knows? We'll see how that plays out. Could it be Royal? I think he's one more year to go. I don't know if he's NBA draft ready, so to speak. If he'll be picked up by the NBA, he might be looking to go somewhere else. But who knows? Jury's still out on what's going to happen portal-wise for Ohio State men's teams in terms of who's staying, who's going, who they're potentially looking at and bringing in, because something got to change for Jake Diebler in his coaching career here at Ohio State. The Iowa loss was bad. He sort of saved himself. Given what happened against TCU, I think he bought himself another year. And we're going to see what he can do with it. Hopefully Thompson goes on and signs the dotted line and comes in, and see what him and like I said, in the cast of folks he has coming back, hopefully, see what they can do next year. Because I do think that's a talented roster on paper. Bynum and Mobley is a good start. You got your inside game, outside game. If Thompson can add anything to that, you got something going on there. Who else they got may have coming back is Ivan, the freshman. Again, I ain't gonna try his last name. But still, he has the height, but he got bullied. Tilly got bullied in the inside. That's where we've been lacking, is in the paint. But don't they have some cross training between our men's football program and the basketball thing? Can we get Ivan to work out some with the Ohio State football team and get in there with Mickey Mariotti so we can see what he can do strength wise for some of our interior players, because they get bullied a lot. Granted, he was a freshman, so hopefully he comes back, because he does bring size, but he got bullied a lot and he needs to work on his footwork as well. But he keeps the big man and surrounds him with some folks. Get him trained up. He has a year under his belt now in the college game, and hopefully get him acclimated more to the college game, and hopefully we'll have us a bona fide inside presence that we lost when Felix left. That was just, could we have used Felix? Our leaving that definitely hurt, because he was that inside presence we needed on the defensive end. But is what it is. They made the tournament. Diebler, they could have folded their tents after that Iowa game. They didn't. Made a run, got into the tournament, and just came up short against TCU. It is what it is with Diebler. He did what hadn't been done in a while. May have saved his job. Not surprised about the early exit. Women's team. Let's move on to the women's team, who got past the first round game, but Kevin McGuff normally gets past his first round games in the tournament. That's his MO. He gets past the first round and loses in the second round. That's his MO. I think he's been here long enough now for us to realize this is who Kevin McGuff is. This is who his teams are. He has a ceiling. We know what his ceiling is. I think time to move on. Because he's had talented team. Unlike the men's team who's been a sort of talent depraved over several years, the same can't be said with our women's team. Our women's team, to McGuff's credit, is good. He's a good recruiter. He brings in top flight talent. Hence Jelani Cambridge. Hence Kelsey Mitchell. Hence J.C. Sheldon. He's had some good players over the years. He just has very little to show for it. His teams as it's shown out, they're pretty much one-trick ponies. If the press ain't working, which often it doesn't to the same degree it does against lesser teams, he has no backup plan. They generate offense based on their defensive pressure, based on how they can press teams. And if you got teams, and the better teams are, the upper echelon teams are teams that can make Sweet 16 appearances. You get in there, those type of teams, the press doesn't bother them as much. So when the press doesn't bother them as much, you got to rely on your other defensive stuff. And that's where Kevin McGuff, he has no backup plan. When the press ain't working, he just keep pressing, and the deficit keeps growing because he has no backup plan on the defensive end. Now, some would say, well, we don't have an inside presence, but I would beg to differ. Elsa, she improved steadily throughout the year. But you got 6'5", 6'6" presence. Kylie Kitts, it's what, 6'3", 6'4". So you had some height on the inside, and they were bona fide rim protectors. At least Elsa was. She was a bona fide rim protector. Can she get better and stronger? Yes, but he had the inside game to go along with the outside game. You had 3-point shooters. Plus, you had the bona fide superstar in Jelani Cambridge, and your defensive stopper in Kennedy Cambridge. Young team, yes, but this is a team that should be in the Sweet 16. That's just my opinion. This was definitely a Sweet 16, if anything else, type of team. Despite their youth, I thought they should have been able to, especially playing on home. That's the thing. 3 straight years now they've lost on their home court as 3 and 2, as a 3 seed and 2 seeds, and that's just, to me, that's unacceptable at this point. Take away his one run to the Elite Eight, where J.C. Sheldon and the rest of the troops knocked off UConn en route to the Elite Eight. What does he have to show for his time here in Columbus? I think we know who he is, what his teams are going to do. They're going to beat up on the less talented teams because they can overwhelm them with the press. Defense leads to offense, and they can score in buckets and bunches and stuff of that nature. But when it doesn't work, they struggle. They struggle, and if the 3-point shot ain't falling with a lot of teams, honestly, they struggle on the offensive end. But I just don't see I don't see Kevin McGuff going past that ceiling, because regardless of the talent he's had, he's always petered out in the second round. Save 1 year. We know who he is. This time, he's been there long enough. We got the script. We know what it is. Next year, if he's here, which he most likely will be, it's going to be the same thing. A lot of other Big Ten teams are losing a lot of senior latent talent. Again, this is a young team. I think using Chance Gray and Tiana Todd, who was, in my opinion, she came in to be a 3-point shooter, but she found herself parked on the bench for much of the year. She started out as a starter, gave way to Bryn Martin. He tried to reintegrate her into the lineup more in the Big Ten tournament to take advantage of her 3-point shooting. But hell, she rotted on the bench all year. Can't just it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Something got to change with McGuff and how he does stuff if he is to stay on. Me personally, and I said it before, I don't advocate for folks being fired, but ain't like Kevin McGuff gonna be unemployed long. Sure. That's because he's a good recruiter. He can get you into the dance, which a lot of programs would relish, being able to get to the dance. But this is Ohio State. We ain't satisfied with just getting there. We want to do some damage once we're there. At least make it to the Sweet 16. He can't even get to the Sweet 16 with the talent he's been able to bring into Columbus. Katie Smith. Yeah, like I say, if you're going to, like some of these folks, if you're going to say get rid of somebody, have a name in mind who you feel could come in, and if can't do no worse, Katie Smith. She's on the bench. Couple years now. Let's see what she can do. I'm ready for the Katie Smith experience for the women's team. We know what McGuff can do. We know what he can't do. Time for something else. You can't do no worse than a first round exit. Well, you may not make the tournament. This Ohio State, we're going to make the tournament more times than not. We just are. And if we don't, then yeah, time to move on. But I think it's time to see what Katie Smith can do. McGuff has been here long enough to where we know who he is, what he's going to do, and how his teams are going to perform. And the new president says he wants deep runs into the tournament. That's coming from the Ohio State president. We want deep runs into the tournament. McGuff ain't going to get you deep runs into the tournament. Well, Katie Smith, we don't know, but I think we know McGuff ain't going to do it. I brought this up on the thread. Some of the threads I'm in, I say, hey, we know what Kevin McGuff can do. Let's bring in Katie Smith. Well, Katie Smith ain't got no coaching experience. Katie Smith ain't this. Katie Smith ain't. Katie Smith, 10 years coaching experience in the WNBA. A couple of those years as a head coach. She's been on the Ohio State bench now a couple years. And I will pit her professional pedigree up against anybody. She's a Hall of Fame player. And yeah, that don't always translate to good coaching, but I think she's put in the time and the learning experience and built up her coaching acumen to where I feel she's ready to take over someplace. And why wait? Why wait and have somebody else grab Katie Smith when she's right there on your bench? Now she's someone you could get. Now she's already on your bench. Like I said, if you want to suggest someone to get removed, have a name in mind for who could step in. A lot of times you'll see people say fire him, but they ain't got no replacement in mind. I say let McGuff go, bring in Katie Smith, and see what she can do. It's worked out so far in football. Brian Hartline, he's killed it. Of course, comparing stuff to football, I know, but it's worked out in football. Brian Hartline has killed it in football. Laurinaitis is killing it in football, bringing back some past players and pitting them on the sideline. Let's see what Katie Smith can do for the basketball team, because Kevin McGuff ain't it. And someone say, well, if we let McGuff go now, you might lose Cambridge. Well, maybe not, but you got Katie Smith on the bench working there. If I'm Jelani Cambridge, you look at what I said, what Smith in her professional career, what she's been able to do, Team USA, Hall of Fame player. What guard or what player period would not want to play for someone with that type of professional pedigree and career behind them? I'm just saying that she has a good McGuff. Like, she probably ain't going nowhere, but he has if they all stay. That's always a thing. Like I said, Cody McMahon left, but I think that was a good move for her. She wanted to be more of a point guard, point forward, and that was not happening with Jelani here. So I think that was good for her. Worked out for her at Ole Miss, and I think it worked out for Ohio State here. But should everyone come back? I said, are we losing this Chance Gray? And again, prolific three-point shooter, going to have to replace her. I think Bryn Martin can step up, and Dasha. I think she was a good three-point shooter when she got the opportunity to play. But you're going to have Elsa back, Kylie Kitts back. Hopefully she returns. Again, this is predicated on all of them returning. He had a good core coming back. With a lot of the losses, senior losses going around in the Big Ten, Ohio State should be right up there again, should everyone return. But I think Kennedy Cambridge, I think she has another year of playing eligibility left. And I do think she has graduated school-wise, but I think she has one more year of playing left. If someone knows otherwise, you can throw it down there in the comments. But you're going to have Elsa back, Kylie Kitts back, the Cambridge sisters back, Ava Watson back, Bryn Martin back. Got a good nucleus coming back. So again, another year under their belts. UCLA's losing a lot of their teams, and again, whoever he brings into the portal, got to bring them in and use them You used Kylie Kitt. She came in on the portal, but Tiana Todd, she pretty much rotted on the bench after the first month of the season. So, again, I know what Kevin McGuff brings to the table. I know what he's going to do. I know what we're going to get from him year in and year out. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and then expecting a different outcome. I think it's time to move on for Kevin McGuff. But the bittersweet thing of all this, now we can solely focus on football. Spring game is upcoming, and like I said, so we can get more into some of the football stuff, and I'm excited to see that. But our basketball team petered out. I thought we'd be talking about some more championships outside of basketball. Our wrestlers fizzled. I just knew I was going to go on here and congratulate Jesse Mendez in wrestling. I watched him. I keep my eye on other stuff, and Mendez, he fell in the final. Our outstanding freshman Davino fell in the final. Our women's hockey team, they fell in the championship game to Wisconsin. I think we, so it's just, it's been real. We get there, but we got to figure out how to get over the hump. I do think we do have one championship person we can talk about, fencing. And then I knew that, huh? Fencing, I was Nika. She won in fencing individual championship. So congrats to her for bringing home an NCAA title. But other than that, our basketball folks, we got some stuff. We got some growing to do basketball wise, because there's no reason why in the world why Ohio State is not better in basketball. On the women's side, again, the talent's there. On the men's side, we haven't had a good basketball team since Thad Matta. Hats off to Thad Matta. He's retiring after all this time. But those were the last great Ohio State teams, men's wise, that we have to go back to. The Greg Oden, Michael Conley era, Evan Turner, some of the teams that Matta put together. We just haven't been able to get back to that level of talent since he left. So hopefully we can get there. Hopefully Jake Diebler can bring us back there. His brother was part of those Thad Matta teams. So we'll see. We'll see. The jury's out, but no, hats off to Thad Matta and his retirement, well deserved. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But until next time, OHIO, I'm out. Go Bucks.